Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. It's match preview, Copenhagen versus Manchester United. Plenty to discuss in today's video. Reds, get involved with the chat, team selection, score predictions. But first of all, I want to know your thoughts and feelings going into this one.
My feelings are, it's simple. To qualify and go through out of this group, to have any chance, we've got to win. And I believe we can. I think this squad, looking at it, when it was training today, I thought to myself, this is a strong squad. We'll win. I can't see any other result. I honestly can't. I am optimistic. I know, like, certain people out there are like, got a bit of a downer on the team. I've got a bit of downer at times on it. But I think to myself, going to Copenhagen, we will win.
Yeah, if there's any time of a downer, there's always Mr. Optimistic sat here who's here to give us all a lift. But yeah, going into this game, you're looking at parts of that Fulham game recently, looking on the left-hand side with Garnacho, on the right-hand side, Antony started. Do you expect any changes in them wide positions?
No, I think Erik ten Hag will put Antony there. I don't think Antony should have been brought back as quickly. I don't think he was right. You look at his actions on the pitch, the way he's shouting and bawling and his bit of aggression, thought he was brought back too early. And I think Erik ten Hag will stick with him. That's his man. He's brought him in. He's bought him 80, 90 million pound, whatever it is. I think he'll stick with him. I think Pellistri will feel unlucky not to get a place.
Yeah, we was having the discussion earlier on, actually, about Antony. Do we think he's been brought back too early? But, you know, you look at the employer-employee regulations, all that kind of stuff, you know, they've got to make sure they're mentally right to come back to work. So I'm sure there's been conversations there in the background before he come back to the squad, Antony, and they feel it's the right decision. But it's the performance on the pitch, for me, that matters. And to be quite honest with you, it's not lived up to expectations of what I thought he would produce this season. So for me, I think he's had a little bit... Well, he's had a run of games, really, to prove his worth to the team and that he should be starting, and he's not proved it to me. I thought it was a really poor individual performance from him against Fulham. And, you know, when Pellistri come on, you know, in the moments that he did produce, he produced a lot more than Antony's give us since he's come back. So for me, he's got to start on that right-hand side, Pellistri. And if he doesn't start and Antony plays in this one, and he doesn't buck up his ideas, if I was Pellistri, I'd be knocking on the manager's door saying, what more else have I got to do to get a start in this team?
Listen, there's a big shout for Pellistri. You've seen his performance when he came on against Fulham. He was there. He created a little bit of chaos. He actually created the look, the bounce of the ball, something we've not been getting, which ended up leading to the goal. Yes, he's going to be disappointed, Pellistri, but I think Erik ten Hag will stick with him. If you look at Antony's performances, they've been bad. But then again, how many players can you point to who's had good games, who's played well this season? But I think that victory there, with the way they celebrated, the way they got it together, the way they stuck to it, and if you look at the 3 away games, I think they've not been open, they've not been attacking as we all would like. But the thing is, there is a pattern of play there which says they are determined to grind the results out. And I think going to Copenhagen, I think you will see more of the same. I think the tactics, what will happen, United will sit in. But Copenhagen, I think they'll sit in and try and get that goal. But the game, the longer it goes, the more it will open up. So if you've got Rashford and Antony on there, that's how I look at it. I think their chances will be created by them getting the space. I honestly do.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what selection he actually will go with up top with the 3, especially in midfield as well. But like I say, on that right-hand side for me, I think Pellistri, he needs to start this game. I think it gives his own style of play anyway is different to Antony's in how he actually plays the game. For me, he's like more of an old-school winger, right-sided player who always wants to beat the right back, left back, and get to the byline and get balls in for deliveries for Hojlund. And you've seen a bit of frustration from Hojlund on the game against Fulham when he come off because he wasn't getting the service. Now, he's got to do better, in my opinion, as well, in holding the ball up at times. He's got to improve on that. But he was making runs throughout that game and in other games, and he's just seemed not to get the service when he demands it. So, for me, I think Pellistri would be a lot better for Hojlund in terms of creating chances in and around the box. For me, Antony is always looking to cut inside on the left. Maybe sometimes slow the game down a little bit too much for me, whereas Pellistri is more direct, wants to take the man on, get to the byline, get balls in for Hojlund.
Yeah, you can see Pellistri in the type of game he plays will provide Hojlund with more service. But with Hojlund in this game, he has to be patient. I can understand his frustration. The balls aren't coming to him. But over time, it will happen. And he just has to sort of like calm down and be on his toes and get ready, because there will not be many chances in this game. I've seen him a couple of times where the ball has gone zipping across the area and he wasn't on his toes. There is opportunities for him and he's missed them, but there's not been many. Yeah. And Hojlund, frustrated as he is, he just has to stay calm and he just has to be resilient and stay in the game and be ready for when it comes. Because to me, there will not be many opportunities here, especially in the first 45 minutes. So just keep your chin up, Hojlund. It will come. No one's criticising you. Your work rate's fantastic. We know you're not getting the service. You know that more than anyone, but it will change.
Yeah, no, for me, if Antony does start, it'd be great for him to get on the score sheet or, get a couple of assists at least, or even one. But I just don't think it's beneficial for him to keep starting games in the run of form that he's going through. I think it'd be beneficial for him to take a seat back and watch games of football instead of starting games under that pressure that is clearly on him at the moment. So for me, Pellistri starts. We've seen it against Bayern Munich away. Big, massive, well, a European giant Bayern Munich, a tough place to go to and get anything out of the game, coming up against Alphonso Davies, who's a quality left-back. And I think he performed pretty well in that game, to be honest with you, with the pressure that was on the Manchester United team to get a result. So for me, I don't think he'd be fazed by this game. It's a must-win game for Manchester United to have any chance of progressing from the group, but I don't think it'd faze him starting the game, and I think he'd perform to a good ability as well. Well, a good standard, shall I say.
Yeah, I don't listen, if he gets his chance, I don't think any of them will be fazed. They understand the importance of the game. It's a massive game. We have to qualify out of it, and the only way to do that is make sure we grind out a win, and it is grinding it out. That's what it'll be. Copenhagen, will they go guns blazing? I don't think so. I think they'll want a goal, a sneaky goal, and then hang on for it. But the thing is, if there is no sneaky goal by any side, sneaky. And the longer it goes, the more open it will. And then maybe Pellistri will get his chance by coming on. Antony on the wing, holding the ball up, not a bad option, but he has to do the job right, and he's not done it well. But, I also look at the other wing there, and I think the game is perfect for Rashford, because when it opens up, he'll have the space and he'll be able to run into it and take it on. But
yeah, I get what you're saying, and you're talking about space. But for me, you're looking at Copenhagen's recent games, and you're looking at the group game against Bayern Munich at their ground. It wasn't easy for Bayern Munich. Copenhagen were making it very difficult for them in that game, and I don't expect an easy game here for United. For me, we're going to have to score at least 2 goals, because I can see them scoring 1, maybe 2 goals, Copenhagen, in this match. And, for me on that left-hand side, Garnacho, look, he didn't have a top-notch performance against Fulham, but one thing he did, he run himself into the ground. He was always looking at creating going forward, and especially getting his backside back to help out his left back. And he'd done that a few times, what I noticed. And, we're going to need that in this game. So will Rashford be able to do that, help out with his left back? Because we are going to need to defend at times. And, going forward, will we still have that space, or is that space only going to be there later on into the second half, that 60, 70 minutes, if Copenhagen have to come out and play?
Well,
the substitutions here are going to have to be bang on.
Take a look at the Old Trafford game, and I don't expect any different in Copenhagen. I think they'll be cagey, and then it will open up. I don't see any team committing suicide and going full gung-ho at this, because it's so important. If Copenhagen get beat, they're out. They're completely out. United aren't through in the group stages. If they win, they've still got a lot of work to do, but they have to stay in the group by winning, and they're going to play it cagey. And if you look at United's away games, they have played it cagey. They've grinded it out, they've fought, everything else like that. The Fulham game was just typical. They just stuck in there and grinded it out. And I think exactly the same will happen here for 60, maybe 70 minutes, and then the game will open up more. So to me, tough game, very, very tough, but so important for both sides. I think the nerves in this are going to be massive.
When I'm looking at United's games recently, have we performed at a top level for 45 minutes, a first half or a second half? No, we've not. And I think a lot of teams who are facing Manchester United I don't think there's a fear there at the moment of playing up against United this season. And I think a lot of teams are, wanting to settle into the game quickly. So when they've settled into the game, to go out and then start attacking Manchester United. I don't see that fear from any opposition when they've come here to Old Trafford or when we are actually playing away. So for me, yeah, I'm a little bit cagey on what Copenhagen will do at the start of the game, because if they do come out at Manchester United, yeah, they will leave us opportunities. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Space in behind their defenders. But, will they start trying to ping the ball out for the first 5 to 10 minutes, get used to the ball, get used to the rhythm, the style of play, then start hitting Manchester United hard on the defensive line? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. But I think the team selection for this, especially in the midfield, has got to be spot on, because for me, Christian Eriksen, Scott McTominay in there. McTominay's been playing well in recent games, I think, as a box-to-box player.
Yeah.
Been getting high up the pitch, looking to retrieve the second balls, grab them knockdowns, and also link up with the forwards. But, Christian Eriksen, when he's left there, isolated on his own in midfield, it's a worry for me, I've got to be honest. I think he's more effective, like we've discussed off camera, coming on in the second half, that 60-minute mark, 70-minute mark, to then try and control the game.
I think lots of people have seen Eriksen over the last few times he's appeared. He can't do the 90 minutes, struggles running back midweek. He was poor running back. I don't think he's got the legs for 90 minutes. I don't think he's had the legs for 90 minutes for quite a while. McTominay is a different beast. He looks different. Box-to-box player. Will he play him? I'm not sure. I actually don't really know what the best midfield is yet, and I don't think Erik ten Hag does. I struggle looking at a midfield, what players to put in there. I think by the time Christmas comes, if he gives 3 players a run, I think you'll see what Erik ten Hag really wants, a style and everything, because I just don't see it at the moment. I don't see which players in that midfield actually work together. It's been erratic. It's got to be sorted out. But I think in the next few games, I think Erik ten Hag will pick a 4 or a 3 and just say, this is it.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo, as Webby says, about who's going to be in that midfield. I know Eriksen can't do 90 minutes and to me, comes on when the game opens up. And to be honest with you, looking at Eriksen there, if he comes on with 20 minutes to go, that's the time to bring him on if the game opens up.
Well, recent results and games have told you that when he's played at his best, Eriksen, when coming on at half-time or coming on later on into the second half, when there is more space to play in. And when there's more space to play in, that suits Christian Eriksen for me. When the tempo's not as lively, not as high as it would be in the first half. So then he can start spotting out the wide players or the centre-forward, linking up with players. But, you're looking in and around that midfield, for me, you'd have to surely start Amrabat to give us that defensive cover, which you always need going away from home in a Champions League tie. And maybe Scott McTominay playing off him as a bit of a box-to-box player.
Yeah.
And maybe linking things up and trying to, force the team forward as well, trying to win them knockdowns if we are going long ball. And, yeah, Bruno Fernandes obviously in the middle. But we need to start booking up our ideas and let's try and play in and around Hojlund, because too many times for me, we're just leaving the lad isolated and he's just feeding off scraps.
I think what you see, we're struggling to get who starts in the midfield, what system and everything like that. But I think the players are starting to realise they've got to start performing here because there is competition for places.
Yeah.
I think it's clear up front when you've got Pellistri there, when you've got Garnacho there, and when you've got players like in midfield like your Hannibal. Mason Mount needs to cement his place. I mean, expensive signing. He needs to cement. So there is pressure on players now. And I think it's a strong squad at the moment. If you look at Casemiro out, Martinez out, Shaw out, then players have to come back. And I think the realisation and the graft these players are going to have to put in just to keep the place is going to be there. And I think you're going to slowly start seeing a turnaround and a different mentality. But Erik ten Hag is the key to this. And it's like, what's your midfield? What's your tactics? Get them out there and give them a run of games. And then there's a battle on for places. So I think slowly we'll see it turn around. I think what you've seen is a fighting performance in these away games. Yes, we've seen the Newcastle game and the City game. Right, let's take them out of the equation. We're going away to Copenhagen. You've seen the style. You've seen what type of game what was played. I think you'll see similar and a battling. And I think United, at this moment in time, that suits them. That suits the Man United as it is. It's not what we all signed up for, okay? It's not. But at the end of the day, this is what we're in. We're in a battle, and these players have shown they can battle. And one of those players what have shown they can battle is Harry Maguire.
Listen, having a conversation earlier on, weren't we, that Harry Maguire is our best centre half this season.
Yeah.
And if you put it in isolation, his performances, let's say compared to Rafael Varane, who plays on that right side of defence, Harry wins it every time for me. Varane's just clearly not started off the season like we thought he would do, you know, picking up from his performances from last year. Too much still in and out the squad injured, but even last season when that did happen, he still would then come back into the team and perform at a standard. And I've just not seen that this season. And, best of luck to Harry Maguire there. He's coming to the squad, the first team, played against Fulham over the weekend, and I thought that was a great performance from him. Took a knock really early on, had to get checked out towards the end of that game again. And for me, he was playing with a calmness and a composure at times where he's like doing 30, 40-yard passes, crossfield balls, and they're going straight to the man, coming under pressure at times, looking to do his interceptions, winning them. Not every single one, because no player can win every single one. But the majority of them, he was winning. He was going up for headers. And for me, he's our best centre-half at the moment, bar none.
Yeah, well, I think what you have to do, you have to look at Harry Maguire in the away games he's played. He's been steady, he's been in there, but he's also been calm. That's the difference I see with Harry Maguire. Players are actually relying on him. Players are also not worried that Harry's got the ball at the back. Harry's being calm and playing the ball. It's a different Harry Maguire. Maybe the pressure's off full time. Will Harry Maguire sustain this? I don't know. I hope he does. Yeah. But Harry Maguire seems to be able to play the ball now without any fear in his game. That's what I'm seeing. It's a slow process for him, right? There's a long way to go yet, right, for him to get top-notch, okay? And I mean top-notch like...
There's going to be a lot more tougher tests for Harry Maguire coming down the line, but you've got to put his recent performances...
Put it into isolation
isolation right now. Yeah. He deserves to start time and time again over any of the other centre-backs based on performances at the start of this season. For me, I don't know about yous out there, but get it in the comments.
Well,
For me, I wish him all the best. Let's have it right. We've got to be sensible with it as well. Erik ten Hag was trying to look for another centre-back in the summer to play on that right side of defence. I think maybe long-term Erik ten Hag still sees that. But for the time being, Harry's needed, and Harry's doing a very, very good job in when he's being selected.
No, he's doing an excellent job. And then when you look at the position, he was fifth choice. But then, you said, like, you think he's been the best centre-half this season for United. And, I think it's very hard to disagree on the amount of games he's played. When you look at Martinez, poor form, didn't look fit. Then you look at Varane. Varane has been out of the team, in and out like a yo-yo.
But even when he's been in the team, I've not seen that Rafael Varane that we've seen last season at all. I've not even seen him anywhere near that standard for me. And
not the standard of last year, but then he's not had a run of games. I think you see more of Varane when he's had a run of games, but he doesn't seem to be having a run of games. And Harry Maguire stands there at centre-half, and he looks the man at the moment. To me, it looks as though he's got the weight off his shoulders, which is good, and it's needed for Man United. There's other players there, what I think have rose to the challenge, and I think there's other players there what have buckled under it. But at this moment, I just look at it and think, with Harry Maguire's confidence, with the battling way we've been playing away, I think going to Copenhagen here, I think everything's set up for us to beat Copenhagen. Will that be enough to get us the momentum to go to Galatasaray and then to play Bayern Munich at home and get us through into the next round of the Champions League? Only time will tell with that.
Yeah, maybe playing these away games is currently a lot easier for these players to play under instead of maybe the pressures here at Old Trafford. I'm not too sure, but I feel confident like you going away and getting these 3 points. I think there's just something there with a team spirit, that never say die attitude, so to speak, to still keep going late on in the game to try and find that goal, find a result.
Yeah, I think the away games, the way they set up is different than the way at home. I think the pressure's more on for United to play open and expansive football, where it seems to be like it's a grind. It's more of a defensive display away, which suits Harry Maguire, which is fantastic.
Suits the likes of Scott McTominay as well.
Yes, suits like Scott McTominay, without a doubt. But what I'm looking forward to, and I was excited about, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I look at that and I think to myself, I've seen his display. He wants it. And I think we need him there. His tackling, the way he goes down the line. I think that really, if there's a partnership and it needs developing, and it needs developing with the winger. So whoever if Adam Wan-Bissaka's in the team, which he will be, then what he does need, he needs a winger, someone to work with on a regular basis. So that is a problem for Erik ten Hag to sort out. At the moment, the left full-back position, I think Delot should go there. He'll know Rashford, he knows Garnacho, and I think his work rate on the left-hand side, when I've seen it, has been very, very good. And I think I've no worries about Delot playing on the left-hand side. So going against Copenhagen, I think having them two there will give more confidence to Harry Maguire than he's actually got.
Yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka definitely will. Are you trying to punch me there for my opinion?
No, just fly.
Oh, right, okay. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka will, with being on the right-hand side with Maguire. And when I've seen Wan-Bissaka come back, sometimes players come back after a long injury layoff. They need time to get up to speed. But to me, he just looks straight in there at it. His fitness looks good.
Yeah.
His tackling looks good. The timing of it as well. So, that's all benefiting us going forward. And, with Delot on the left-hand side, for me, his best performances this season have come at left-back. I know he scored that worldie from right-back against Sheffield United, and it was a worldie, won us the game. But you look at the performance against Arsenal away, had Saka in his pocket, left-back again against Fulham. Yeah, had his moments where he wasn't too good, but his defensive cover from balls coming in from our right-hand side or to the back post, a couple of times he covered it, tracked his man. And I do think he gives us that cover as well going into midfield. He can play it pretty well with this so-called inverted fullback role where he knows when to tuck into midfield, just to beef up the midfield, just to be that extra defensive cover alongside one of the defensive mids.
I think what you're going to see with the whole squad, I think you're going to see an improvement. I think there's a little bit especially after the Fulham game and I look at the away games, I think there's a bit more togetherness in that squad than people actually think. And I think Erik ten Hag, he only has to get that midfield right and get it right quickly. And I think it'll gel. I think the confidence is there with a lot of players. I just think that midfield at times plays too far apart. And I don't think the players can actually cope with it or understand it. And that is the main problem to me, which needs rectifying, but quickly. But the players, to me, I think they're just building up a little bit of confidence. And that late win against Fulham is the icing on the cake going away to Copenhagen, because that's the type of performance we want, a performance where they stick at it. So to me, going to Copenhagen, it's a must-win, and I can't see anything, and I've got to give a score 2-0.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the midfield there, and you're right, it has been disjointed for large parts of the season due to injuries or loss of form. And if you haven't got that right in midfield, you're not really ever going to control a game. Like we've discussed previously, have you seen Man United really dominate a 45-minute period, whether the first half or second half? No. We've not. We've either been too open, putting pressure on our defence, or just not been good enough in attacks, linking up with the wide players or linking up with Hojlund, creating scoring opportunities. But we have done in moments in second halves where our teams have dropped off to give us the space. And, coming up against Copenhagen here, we're not really going to be able to afford that. We've got to be tight. We've got to be compact in the midfield defensively, and linking up with the forwards is going to have to be spot on. And then hopefully, we're in a position where we're in the second half. Copenhagen are in a position, they've got to come at us because they need the 3 points, and we can score an extra goal or two. I just feel we need 2 goals minimum in this game.
Yeah, I think what it is, when you mention moments, there will only be, as I see it, only a few moments in this game. And this is where Hojlund has to be on his toes, has to be patient, and the players just have to control the midfield, control the ball, and not panic. And I think looking at United, I don't see United panicking going away here. To me, I think Copenhagen, I look at them and think, you're in big trouble here. You've got no other plan except attack, and you've got to win.
Yeah.
You have to win Copenhagen, or they're out. Big problems for them. And I think United, strong enough, and a way they've committed themselves and fought in games, I think this suits them.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm just looking at the wide areas there. I'd like Palestra to start myself for the reasons I've given. On the left-hand side, though, I just can't see him not starting Rashford. I think he will start Rashford. The likes of Rashford, Harry Maguire, Bruno, Johnny Evans, if he starts, these type of experienced players do need to start leading the team in this game, because it's a very, very important game. players who need to rise to the occasion. There's no excuses for me. So he needs to start Rashford. Hopefully he can get on the score sheet as well, or get an assist for Hojlund. Start seeing some link-up play between them two as well. So, it's all fingers crossed, but I'm confident going into this one. I am going to actually go with a 3-1 scoreline to Manchester United.
Excellent.
So I'm going to stick with that one. Some of you might call me mad out there, but it's not the first time.
I'm sticking with 2-0. And to be honest with you, there is no excuses for United not to win.
Yeah, big game. Hopefully you'll join us as well for the match reaction straight after it. Get all your thoughts and opinions on what we've discussed today. What are your own opinions as well as ever? Now, thanks for joining us. Smash that like button to support the channel. And you take care, Reds, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.